Good morning, or whatever time it is when you're watching this. I'm not sure why, but I get a lot of requests about how I do my wood grain on my cups. You're probably going to hear the airplanes going over. I'm outside, but here's my camper. It sits in the back of my truck, and it's a good place to keep out of the sun. I'm in South Florida, so it gets hot, and so you'll hear the planes going over. But anyway, I get a lot of requests about my wood grain. Let me give you a little background. I'm not good at this. I'm not an expert at this. I play with it. I do a lot of shows and sell cups and stuff, and people can't believe it. But actually, what I tell a lot of people is the wood grain is just stupid easy. Don't be afraid of it. The biggest thing is some things are, here's my cup here that I'm going to be doing. If this cord don't get in the way here, but it's a 30 ounce modern curve from Stainless Depot. Not recommending them or by any means, or whoever you get cups from. I don't care if it's from Walmart. I've done a lot of that. But anyway, to prep it, somewhere here it is. I sand it with this wet sandpaper 220, scuff it down the bottom and clean it up good. I take a rag and put acetone on it and wipe all the dust off, oils, fingerprints, that kind of stuff. So that way it's nice and clean when you start. This paint, normally I use, depending on what color of wood grain I'm doing, but this paint is the camo, like you can get it at Home Depot or something. Home Depot is probably the best, or Walmart. It's camo tan, and they have dark green, whatever, but it's flat paints. Most of my cups are light wood grain, and it's usually flat white. But I'll start by taping up. I put a 2-inch wide band around the top with the sticky side coming out, and then I use 1 inch and go around and kind of fold it over. It's kind of hard, but that way the sticky part don't catch on nothing, and it's then I put another piece of 2 inch on the inside, so it's down that far, so that way when I spray it I don't get overspray all over the inside of the cup. It's just football from Dollar Tree on my PVC for my turners, and so, but this is how I do it. This cup, my Gators cups, or my dark wood grain cups, I start out with the tan because I get a lot darker. Now there's other cups that I do, my Bacardi cups. I'll start out with the light, with a caramel color over white, and it's real light, and then I'll put the teak color over that, and it's not as dark as what this is going to be. This is going to be dark like teak. So, and that's what I want for the Gators, the Florida Gators emblems that I put on. Your alcohol ink, I use the Ranger. I bought it like everybody else does it, Hobby Lobby and all that stuff, but what I found is you got to buy the 3-pack. You only need one color, but you end up with 2 other colors you don't need. Go straight to Ranger's website. You can order as many bottles of whatever colors you want and not have to deal with getting extras that you don't use. I mean, I have probably 50 different colors in there. I don't know, somewhere in there. I got 2 boxes full of them. These, like the teak I use a lot of, and the caramel I use. I'll order 6, 8, 10, 12 at a time because I go through so many. And other colors I'll try, reds, blues, oranges, rusts. There's a lot of them I use. So anyway, this is just to kind of show you how I do my wood grains. I mean, like I say, it's easy, and before I do, let me set this down. 2 things I need to do. One, I put a glove on my left hand here, or sometimes wrap a rag on it or something, but that ink will splatter on you, and it comes off after a couple days, or with a grinder. Don't use a grinder. And then I got to put my specs on because I got to see what I'm doing. I'm an old guy. So here's what I'm going to do. Say it's easy. I've gotten a lot of this stuff from my daughter. She kind of coached me through, and then most of it was all just by feel, just do it. So I use a cheap 1-inch paintbrush from Home Depot, the disposable ones, and I don't have this one marked, but I've got probably more than a dozen. Every time you use a different color, mark it with that color, reds, purples, blues, whatever, and only use it on that. Like this one here is for the teak. The teak's real dark compared to that caramel. If you use this for the caramel, you'll get dark streaks in there, so I keep them separated. They're cheap, they're nothing. So I'm outside, like say under my campers, back of my truck, and it just works out for me here. So best way to start is just a strip like that. Set this down. Don't go crazy with the strokes. I usually try to get the bottom because that's harder, in the top, and then in the middle. Set this down. Another strip. And don't get, if you get a lot, keep like painting and stuff, don't worry about if you miss stuff. Like, as a matter of fact, you almost want to. Don't worry about it. You know, you got, wherever it overlaps, it'll be darker. And just keep going around. Maybe I should have started with a smaller cup because it would have been quicker. But like that. Now, something I hate with these bottles, when you tip them up quick, you get spurts. And it just drives me nuts. You get little spots, and so you gotta kind of have to. You'll see what it happens all the time. So just a couple strokes back and forth. Get your grain going. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be nothing. I mean, it's wood grain. You know, you don't have to be right perfect on it. There's another thing I don't care for, but they do it. I don't know what causes it, but I'll show you here in a little bit. See, and it gives you that wood grain effect. With this tan, the teak is a lot darker then, and that's what I'm going for. A lot of stuff I'll use over the flat white, reds, purples, blues. It just depends on what colors you're looking for. Some people use semi-gloss paints and stuff. What I've seen is the ink tends to smear over it. Flat paint to me works the best. So let me see if I can't hurry this along. And like I say, don't worry about missing spots, because that'll be okay. There we go. Don't go real, you know, a whole bunch of brush strokes. You see, I only do 4 or so. I don't count them. I just whatever works. And if you like here, you'll see all the humps are coming this way. It tends to, I turn it a little bit and it oozes that way, and it gives it that. So if you think, you know, just try to keep it straighter, and it'll keep it from doing that. See, it don't go that way, so you can go like this, and there you go. So it's pretty easy. I could say stupid easy, but I'm not saying easy stupid. It's just stupid easy. So let me get going with this and finish this up. Maybe I'll speed this part up a little bit and then come back around and I'll show you. But let me just keep on going here. See how it does that, but sometimes you get little bitty spots in it that just, it looks bad on her actually, and it's air coming out and it pushes it. Just, I hate that, but anyway. On some of these cups with the lines of the seams on the bottom, you'll see this one ain't as bad with the color. On the caramel color I use, it tends to run down that seam, and it seems like everything just kind of runs down, so I'll go back a little bit and to keep the grains going the same way. But if you try it, you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you go over it the second time and just use a little bit here and there, it'll straighten it out and it don't look so bad. See, we're almost to the end here. Don't get carried away squeezing a lot out, because then it runs. And okay, now you're back all the way around. You got all the spots you missed, so by the time you get back around, the other stuff's pretty well dry. You see a little spot here, so I'll just run another bead and keep on going around to fill that in. And you'll see a couple like that, you'll get the grains, and wherever this last bead over, you see how dark it is, and that gives you a lot of wood grain in it, and it looks a lot better. There's spots like here, it's kind of blurred almost. I don't know what causes that, if it's from the paint or whatever, but sometimes I'll go ahead, even if I didn't miss spots, I'll put a row in there just to take that blurriness out, make it look more like wood grain. There's a couple little spots here. That's it. I don't know if you can see right there's a little bitty spot, and that's from the air from this tipping up fast or something, and it isn't natural. So I try to, you got to be slow when you tip this up to keep the air from spurting out of it. So oh, I didn't get that part, so I'm gonna go back over. Every time you put another layer on, you'll get more grains in it. Like here it's kind of thin, so I'll put another one there. It ain't pretty, it ain't perfect, there's no rhyme, no reason. So here, we're just right there. See, it's kind of thin in there, so I'll just run a bead in there and just kind of. Now when you put the second coat on, you got to be pretty quick with the brush, because you'll see it kind of rounds off, and that's not normal. So you hit that really quick to stretch it out some, so that way don't look. See, you can see the roundness on it, and it'll stay like that if you leave it. So you have to be pretty quick on the second coat to make it to where it looks more natural with the wood grain. But you can't brush on it a bunch, because it'll thin it out real good, and it ain't right either though. So again, I'm not a expert by no means, you know. I'm not on making a lot of videos, and I'm really shocked. I have a video on that about storyboard cups, and I don't know if anybody's tried them, but it just drove me nuts that they leak so bad. And a few videos that were on there didn't make much sense. People using silicone to seal oil, which don't ever work. So I came up with another way to do it with an O-ring, and it works well. I make quite a few of them. But in the video I tell you that they don't hold ice worth a darn, and so, you know, they're neat though. So, and then this last weekend I had a couple shows and I sold some. So yeah, I tell the people that, you know, they don't hold ice as well as these cups do, but it's something different. So it's a novelty kind of thing. But yeah, I get subscribers. I'm kind of funny. It's funny about that, because I'm not a hobbyist person. You know, I do, like I say, a lot of shows, and I get a lot of people asking me about my artistic, and I laugh because 2 years ago I lost my job as a horticulturalist, and I haven't had a job in 2 years, and so go do some interviews, you find out real quick what people think of 60-year-old people. So I kind of ease on my pension and make cups and sell them, and I get by, and so I'm good. But I would have never thought, but I have zero artistic bones in my body or talent or anything to do with that. So at the shows all the time, people ask me, how did I get into this? Well, I tell them it's hereditary. I got it from my daughter. So she called me about making turners for her, so I designed a bunch of turners and I sold a bunch of them, and then she asked about making cups, and then I got in it, and now that's all I do. So I had a lot of people requesting on one of the sites. I posted some cups about my turners, and I'm gonna have to make a video on that. But I guess subscribers, I'm kind of funny, and it's funny about that. Say I'm not an expert by no means or whatever, but on my site I have picked a lot of videos of a van I customized and some outdoors. That's what the name of it, outdoorsman. You know, it's for outdoors, camping and hunting and fishing, and but go figure, got into arts and crafts. So almost done here, and you can see I'm no frills. There ain't all dressed up and have fuzzy props and sets and nothing like that. This is me. Now the bottom. So as you can see, it just covers that pretty good. And oh, I missed a spot. Then you can go back around and okay, not a problem. There you go, and it's fixed. So for the bottom, be careful with that. Just put a little bit, and don't get too carried away going on the edge, because it'll run way over the edge. If you miss it and it dries up pretty quick, don't worry about it. Just go over it. When I first started doing this, I'd go to Walmart like most people and buy a few cups and try it here and there. Now I get all my cups from Stainless Depot pretty much, and it's not a couple at a time, it's a couple cases at a time. This has just gotten so crazy. I'll go through 2 cases of these 30 ounces in probably 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks, if that, a couple weeks, and that's about it. And now I'm on my 2nd case. I just ordered less than 2 weeks ago, so it's time to order some more. But anyway, that's it. And let me kind of turn you around some. This is going to move a little bit, but so I can take this out in the sun, and you can see how the teak color is. And that's it. So anyway, that's the ABCs of wood graining. There's nothing to it. Like I say, it's stupid easy. It takes 10-15 minutes at most. And now after this, I'll leave this dry for about an hour. I mean, alcohol ink dries really quick, but I leave it set up for about an hour. And a lot of people use the clear, like, spray paint. I tried that a couple times, and I've had horrible, because it's spray paint, so it takes a long time for it to dry. I use Mod Podge sealer, the spray can sealer. Matter of fact, I buy that by the case now because I use it from, I think I get it from Blick Art Supplies. It's cheaper through them. It's like $5 a can or something like that. But I seal it with the Mod Podge, let that dry. Now this, maybe later today, it's about noon or so, but maybe I'll put it on a turner tonight, but probably tomorrow. It's so humid here, it takes a long time for the paint to dry, and then when I seal it, so I'll probably fool with this tomorrow. Tomorrow morning, 8-9 o'clock. I've got, after this last show I did this last weekend, I sold probably 30 cups. So there's probably 20 in there I've got painted already. Then this whole week, I've got another show coming up for Saturday night. So I'll get as many done as I can. I've got orders I need to fill. But yeah, so that's what I'll be doing all week. And I said I don't have a job. So if you got any questions, comments, hey, I'm open to anything. Like I say, I'm no frills, and this is it. So, but it's easy. Don't be afraid of it. I get a lot of people saying, oh, I'm afraid to try. It's nothing to it. Ink, a cheap brush, tape. I mean, what do you need? So that's it. Have a good day, and thanks for watching.